Hey YouTube, JezuzFreek with you once again. I want to talk to you about Go Green 18's newest video, or newer video, Marriage Proposal. Now in that video, Lacey, you basically argued, I'm going to distill this down. Basically you argue that the U.S. government should not be in the business of endorsing marriages, that churches should be in that business, but the U.S. government should be in the business of endorsing civil unions. So you want a complete reversal of what's going on right now, at least federally. And on first blush, this does seem like it makes sense. But under the most minute amount of scrutiny, we can see that this clearly falls apart. The reason is because the United States government is not in the business of blessing marriages. They don't really care if Jack and Jill get married and live happily ever after. What they do care about is that Jack and Jill have children. There are countries now that are suffering big time. Their economies are very stagnant because there has been a greatly reduced influx of new life. So these countries have offered major discounts, tax breaks, even cash payouts to families that will simply have children. Our government realizes by bringing in new potential taxpayers, you increase the longevity of this great nation. So our U.S. government is going to endorse heterosexual marriage because it is in the best interest of the United States of America to continue having children, to bring taxpayers into the tax base. Now, you want U.S. government to cease endorsing marriage. Well, if they do what you say and they stop endorsing marriage and they stop giving tax breaks to married couples and such, and they start giving these breaks to, what, homosexual couples under civil unions, how does that increase the influx of life into this nation? It doesn't. So basically, you would argue that, one would have to argue that you would give civil unions no tax break, because the tax break is all about procreation. And if a heterosexual couple, a homosexual couple cannot procreate, then they should not get that tax break. Now, if they adopt, certainly there should be a tax break for them. But here you see a problem. There will still always be a distinction between marriage and civil unions. The U.S. government must continue giving tax breaks, incentives to families in order that they have children. We are prodigy. JezuzFreek, your argument falls apart, and I hope you'll consider this. You know, I believe that it is part of the United States government to protect this great nation, financially and morally. I do agree with separation of church and state to a large degree, but I believe that quite often people misuse that argument, just like Lacey has. Oh, separation of church and state. The government must intervene on matters that affect its longevity and its strength. Marriage, a Christian institution, is one of those very things that affect this great nation. And our government recognizes that, and it must continue to recognize it. I also wanted to mention quickly, congrats to California voters. You did a great job. Proposition 8 is now a reality. You know, California has often been referred to as the cradle of iniquity. You know, I used to live in California for about 4 years. I lived in San Diego. Beautiful, beautiful area. I like California. I consider it pretty much like a second home. I hope one day to go back, and, you know, I would love to live there. You know, it's nice to see that Californians have taken a stand and said, you know what, we're going to preserve the family unit. Maybe California, you know, isn't as iniquitous as people would like to believe, or lead us to believe. You know, I just pray that the rest of our states take a similar approach, that we protect an institution that God has given to us. Ow! God has commanded us to abide by marriage in our lives, and it is important for our U.S. government to realize the very sacred nature, the important nature of marriage, and to preserve it. And we, as voters and taxpayers, need to make sure that continues to happen.